Good evening and welcome to State of Business, our television's primetime news bulletin. I'm Madhusha Tavapalakumar. Let's take a look at the headlines first. President Sirisena meets Bangladesh Prime Minister to discuss bilateral relations. And Health Minister vows to regulate charges of private hospitals. Now the stories in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena, who is in Bangladesh on a state visit, met with the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, in Dhaka today. The two leaders had discussed a number of issues of bilateral importance. Meanwhile, the representatives of the two countries entered into an agreement and 13 other MOUs in the presence of President Sirisena and the Bangladeshi Prime Minister. The agreements covered the areas of economy, agriculture, shipping, higher education, information technology and media. Health Minister Dr. Rajit Sena says charges at private medical institutions will be regulated soon. The minister said this speaking at the inauguration of a 3-day healthcare exhibition organized by the National Chamber of Commerce in association with the Ceylon College of Physicians. The exhibition will be held at the BMRCH for 3 days. The organizers said this is the first occasion that all medical-related organizations and medical faculties in the country have come together under one roof.
එන සතියේ මම අඩු කරනවා ස්ටෙන්ට් එකේ මිල. රුපියල් ලක්ෂ 3.5ට තුන ස්ටෙන්ට් එක මම ගේනවා 1,50,000ට. ඒක තමයි නියම මිල. ඒත් ලාභයක් ඇතුව. රුපියල් 70,000ට තියුණ ස්ටීල් එක මම අඩු කරනවා 24,000ට. ඒවා ගැසට් කරනවා තව ටික දවසකින්. මම KPMG ආයතනයට බාර දීලා ජාත්‍යන්තර සමාගමට මම සියලුම පුද්ගලික රෝහල් වල තියෙන මිල විශ්ලේෂණයක් මම අරගත්තා. මේ සියලුම පුද්ගලික ආයතන වල මිල පාලනයකට ගේනවා. ඒකද සෞඛ්‍ය සේවය කියන්නේ ව්‍යාපාරයක් මෙන්ම සේවයක් මතක තියාගන්න. මේ මිනිසුගේ ජීවිත පිළිබඳව මේක තියෙන්නේ.
Civil Aviation Authority has taken steps to introduce new regulations with regard to the usage of drones. They have already drafted a set of regulations. According to the Civil Aviation Authority, a drone operator needs to obtain proper authority from a number of institutions before flying a drone. These details were disclosed at a public seminar held in Colombo today on the proposed regulations on the operations of drones. The Civil Aviation Authority has already prepared a draft and it was discussed at length during this session. Minister Nimal Siripala Silva said plans are underway to present the draft regulations to the Parliament for approval before implementing them.
මේ අහස අයිති මේ රටේ ජනතාවට. එහි සුරක්ෂිතතාවය ආරක්ෂා කිරීමේ වගකීම සිවිල් ගුවන් සේවා අධිකාරියට පවරලා දීලා. ඒ නිසා සිවිල් ගුවන් සේවා අධිකාරියේ වගකීමක් තමයි අනතුරු සිදු වෙන්නේ නැති වෙන විදිහට ජනතාවට නීතියෙන් ලබා දීලා තියෙන රැකවරණයන් ආරක්ෂා කරන විදිහට ඕන යාත්‍රා නියාමනය කිරීමේ වගකීම අපිට තියෙනවා. ඒක නිසා ඒක අත්නෝමතික විදිහට පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඉඩ දෙන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ.
Let's take a look at more news after this break. Welcome back. The Young Professionals Organization organized a panel discussion in Colombo recently to discuss GSP plus trade concessions of European Union.
If you look at the growth of the Sri Lankan economy in the last couple of decades, it's really been going in the opposite direction. I think there's a very often quoted statistic that in 1990, Sri Lanka's exports as a share of GDP was about 30%. More recently, that has come down to about 13%. So we've actually been going in the opposite direction to what we should be if we look at the way that other relatively small economies have positioned themselves in terms of achieving long-term growth. So why is that? Now, if we look at the way that Sri Lanka's exports are structured, we have two fundamental flaws. One is the fact that our export markets are very concentrated. About 60% of our exports go to Europe and to the US. And our export products are also very concentrated. We have about, again, 60% of our exports are derived from apparel and tea, 45%, 15% approximately, that kind of ratio, again, for the last couple of decades. So that number hasn't changed at all.
I think that's where the GSP Plus is coming very important to this. Of the Sri Lankan exports during the last 3 decades, as was explained by Deshal, we had a concentration of in product and in markets. And apparel is one such product. If you take the export volume of Sri Lanka to the EU from 2002 to 2016, right throughout, the number one exporter was apparel. It's pre-GSP period and during GSP period and post-GSP period. And in that market represented roughly about 43% of our total exports to the entire world. In that 43%, actually, if you see the total export growing from 2004 to 2010, I think the total volume to the world was grown by about 75%, representing from 1.9 billion to 4.6 billion, and 42% was taken by EU. The EU is having number of preferential trade arrangements with its trading partners. If you take our competing countries, as our biggest competitor today for the low end of the market is the Bangladesh, which is enjoying the thing called EBA, Everything But Arms Facility, where they can export any product other than arms and ammunition on duty-free basis to the EU market. Vietnam is having a bilateral preferential arrangement with India, negotiating an EU agreement with them. Pakistan was enjoying GSP Plus facility. Where did we go?
The GSP Plus benefit is a positive externality of a transaction that we, the government, are entering into you, the people. So it is domestic. It is because that we are delivering on a promise of democracy that other countries around the world have identified us as a good global citizen and have decided unilaterally to give this to us. The process was difficult because for everything that we try to do, there are people who try to block us.
We have a situation where our labor is expensive and relatively uncompetitive. So that again makes it difficult for us to compete in many markets in the export sphere. We also have a relatively high cost of utilities. We have low levels of freely available land compared to some of our larger export competitors. So in order to kind of compensate for many of these cost driving factors, a little bit of support on the market access side goes a long way. So the EU GSP Plus scheme certainly helps out in that. And this is also the reason why Sri Lanka is trying to negotiate a number of trade agreements with some key markets, including expanding the trade agreement with India, looking for an FTA with China. Again, I think it's important that we explore trade agreements with markets in the ASEAN region, East Asia as well, because that market access plays an important role. Because most of our competitors do have this market access in their key markets, and Sri Lankan exporters don't have that.
Let's take a look at stocks after this break. Welcome back. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 27.72 points to close at 6,766.14. And S&P SL 20 index gained by 9.96 points to close the session at 3,909.54. The turnover was 1.6 billion rupees and 50.7 million shares were traded. Next is Forex rates. Now we have dealing room update for the week.
The Sri Lankan rupee ended steady on Thursday as greenback sales by the banks and exporters offset importer demand for dollars. The spot rupee rates trading around 153.70 to 153.75 per dollar this morning. The forward premiums were stable this week. The 1-month premium hovering at around 100 to 110 levels, while the 1-year premium was hovering around 1,190 to 1,205 levels. At the weekly Treasury bill auction held this week, the rates of 3-month bill remain at the same levels at 9.50, while the 6-month bill decreased by 3 basis points to 10.73, and the 1-year bill decreased by 6 basis points to 10.39%. The overnight call money rates trading around 8.70 to 8.75%, while the overnight repo rates trading around 8.70 to 8.73 levels this morning. The liquidity in the market was at a deficit of around 7 billion rupees on Thursday. The treasury bond rates in the secondary market were active this week. The 4-year bond maturing on the 15th of December 2021, trading at around 11.02 to 11.07% this afternoon, while the 1-year bond maturing on the 1st of August 2026 was trading at around 11.22 to 11.27.
With that, we wrap up State of Business for the week. Join us tomorrow with Biz Roundup at 7 p.m. Until then, take care. Good night.